Wow, what a crowd. What a great day. So, welcome everyone. My name is Delton Steele. I have the honor of being the state chair of the North Dakota Committee of the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, also known as ESGR. I'm very excited to be here today. I can't tell you how excited I am, so if you can't tell it, believe me, I am excited. Today we're celebrating an organization that's been recognized for outstanding support of their Guard and Reserve members. And it's the 2022 Secretary of Defense Employment Support Freedom Award to Gate City Bank. Before we move forward with the rest of the program, please join me as we honor America with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a number of folks with us today. Everyone in this room I know is a VIP, or you wouldn't be here. But I do need to mention a few folks today, and if there's some I've overlooked, please forgive me. I don't do this for a living, but it's awful fun to be up here having this opportunity. So first let me start with recognizing the leadership from Gate City Bank. Mr. Kevin Hansen and his wife Susan, President and CEO of Gate City Bank. Just then hold your applause till we're done. I have a few to go through, but wait. The chair of the board of Gate City Bank, Mr. Steve Swantek and his wife Mary Ann. You can wave so they know where you're at. We have the Adjutant General for the great state of North Dakota, Major General Alan Dorman. We have the Land Component Commander of the North Dakota National Guard, General John Erickson. North Dakota National Guard State Command Sergeant Major Derek Heck. Senior Enlisted Leader for the North Dakota National Guard, Command Sergeant Major Eric Binstock. The 119th Air National Guard Wing Commander, Colonel Mitch Johnson. 119th Air National Guard Wing Vice Commander, Chris Dimitrovich. 119th Wing Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Chris Anvig. We have representing the 141 Maneuver Enhancement Brigade, Chandler Barnes, Lieutenant Chandler Barnes. Thank you for being here. We also have Command Sergeant Major of the 141 MEB, Jason Magnuson. Jason, there he is. Thank you. With us today, retired Adjutant General, Major General retired Alec McDonald. There he is. Get that proud bison shirt on. We have the mayor of Fargo, Mayor Tim Mahoney. I thought I saw Tim back there. The mayor of West Fargo, Bernie Dardis. And the mayor of Moorhead, Shelley Carlson. Thanks for coming, Shelley. We have board members from Gate City Bank. Pat Trainer. Pat, oh, good to see you, Pat. Cindy Keller, over there. And Jan Larson, the spouse of board member Rod Larson. And is Jan? Oh, there she is. Thanks for being here today. The president and CEO of the West Fargo Moorhead Chamber of Commerce, Shannon Full. There we go. Chamber of Commerce Military Affairs Committee, Chair for Life, Brian Shawn. Okay, let's see. Did I miss anybody, Jeanette? We're doing okay? All right. Well, please allow me a few moments to tell you about ESGR, what we're about, before we get on to all the other good festivities here today. But this is a special year for the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. This is our 50th year. June 22nd of this year was our official 50th birthday. So this whole year, we're celebrating 50 years of support of Guard and Reserve members and their employers. As you may or may not know, ESGR is an office of the Department of Defense. We're made up of over 3,000 volunteers nationwide, people like me and others who I'll have stand later on in the program that are volunteers for ESGR. It's hard to imagine volunteers for the Department of Defense, but that's what it is. It's people like us that are passionate about serving our military members in the Guard and Reserve and the employers that support them. We do this all in the hopes that all American employers support and value the employment of members of the National Guard and Reserve in the United States and its territories, thereby increasing the readiness of the reserve components. In the part that I remember when I first became ESGR chair way back in 2017 and taken a phrase out of the old playbook about what our mission is with ESGR, it's about creating a culture where all American employers support and value the military service of their employers. And as state chair for the past 5 years, I have seen and met firsthand many employers, the military employees, their families, our many military units and installations, and recognize not only the importance of our National Guard and Reserve, but the employers that there support them and the reason that we're here today. And now a little bit about the other reason we're here today, and that's what's underneath all this draping up here, and that's the Employer Support Freedom Award. First, this is the highest U.S. government honor to employers for the support of the National Guard and Reserve. Each year there are only 15 organizations throughout the United States, its territories, and the District of Columbia that are selected for this prestigious award. To date, there have been 325 organizations throughout the country that have been recognized with the Freedom Award. And Gate City Bank's name is going to go up at the Pentagon along with the other 325 names. So I don't know if I told you that, but that's going to happen. Second, this award is service member driven. Delton Steele is state chair, Dave Johnson is state vice chair of ESGR. We can't make this stuff up. It is service member driven. A service member needs to think enough of their employer to nominate them for these awards that we hand out in ESGR. This year, there were 2,777 nominations nationwide. 2,777. So 15. I used to be a banker. I wasn't ever very good at math, but I think that's about 1/2 of 1% roughly of those nominations that came through. Check my numbers, somebody, but anyway.
I think that's wrong, Bill.
Maybe that's why I retired. But these nominations, they're reviewed by the state committee, and we work with the companies to verify information and look at what they're doing, hear it from the leadership about the great things that they have going on. And then that nomination, or those nominations, are then submitted by me as state chair onto the National Selection Board. So as you can tell, there's a lot of outstanding support for our National Guard and Reserve throughout the United States, and this is a very, very competitive award. And before I retired from my banking career, at the competitor across the street, who was also a Freedom Award winner, by the way, one of our company's former CEOs said, this is a really big darn deal. This is a really big deal while we're here today. So with that, if we can bring them up on the screen, I'm going to read a little introduction. But joining us remotely today from the great state of North Carolina is the National Chair of the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, Mr. Ron Bogle. A little bit about Mr. Bogle. He was appointed National Chair by Secretary of Defense Mark Esper back in October of 2019. Prior to this appointment, he served as State Chair of the North Carolina Committee for Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. In addition, he served as a member of the ESGR National Board of Directors and was its Vice Chair at the time of his appointment. Chair Bogle is a retired North Carolina Superior Court judge. He earned a degree in political science from Georgetown College. Upon graduation, he entered active military service with the United States Army and is a veteran of the Vietnam War. On discharge from active duty, he attended the University of Louisville School of Law, graduating with a Juris Doctorate degree. He later resumed military service in the reserve component. With public and community service a hallmark of his career, in addition to his many years of service to ESGR, Chair Bogle is a nationally recognized leader and advocate in public health efforts to reduce underage drinking and other drug abuse. As CEO of Community Strategies Group, an underage drinking prevention consulting firm, he has traveled the nation as a frequent speaker at local, state, and national conferences, including numerous judicial and law enforcement conferences. He has a number of other notable community service activities, and those can be found on his bio at esgr.mil. It is indeed an honor and pleasure for me today to introduce to you the National Chair of the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, all the way beaming in by electrons today from North Carolina, Mr. Ron Bogle. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bill. I just want to say this is a great honor to be as National Chair, to have this time, a few moments to share with you, to congratulate Gate City Bank on their support of their Guard and Reserve service members. What you do and what you've achieved here is an extraordinary accomplishment. And it's hard for employers, as I have the chance to talk to employers around the nation, to recognize the reality that employers are really important partners in our national defense. Scott mentioned we were created 50 years ago in service to the nation. We are essentially a volunteer organization, as he mentioned, with 3,000 volunteers serving in a state committee in every state in the continental United States, along with Guam, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the District of Columbia, all with the same mission, and that's to work with our nation's employers. And the backdrop of that, so that you'll understand the significance of the employer role, is that we were created in the shadow of a very unpopular public war, and that's the war in Vietnam. When those of us who were in the service at that time returned home, we didn't return home to ticker-tape parades. In fact, when we returned back into the United States from our service in Vietnam, we were frequently told not to wear our uniforms in public, because there were people in this country that simply did not like those who served in the military. Well, this is a world that no longer exists. We live in a nation where our service people, including their family members, because they're just as heroic as our Guard and Reserve service members, the military family is critical to that support. And I'm proud to say, as a member of the National Selection Board, as I reviewed the great things that Gate City Bank it has done for its Guard and Reserve service members, are also its outreach to its Guard and Reserve families. So I want to just salute you for that and congratulate you on behalf of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve to extend our heartfelt congratulations for the things that you've done in your unnecessary things that you've done, because what you're doing, as I had the opportunity to read your nomination package, are things that extend far beyond what the law requires you to do. As you might expect, federal law is protective of our Guard and Reserve service members, but at the minimum standard, you go far beyond that in outreaching to your Guard and Reserve employees and their families. And you're also an inspiration in that small group of people. If you think about the United States, with its millions upon millions of employers, only 325 have reached that select group to actually receive a Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award. You're selected in a very competitive competition. The competition gets more ferocious each year as employers recognize the significance of the employer award. So what we do with ESGR and our 3,000 volunteers is to outreach to our employers, in addition to serving our Guard and Reserve and supporting our Guard and Reserve service members, but outreach to our employers. And what do we hope will come of that? Well, first we do it because we want to recognize the employer. We want to say a heartfelt thank you on behalf of a grateful nation for what you do in supporting the men and women who are employed by you, but simultaneously serve in the Guard and Reserve. You contribute significantly to their readiness and retention to serve when called. So we also hope, though, that, for lack of a better word, you'll become missionaries or messengers, as you choose to see your view, and that's to outreach to other employers in North Dakota and beyond. I know that Gate City Bank is operating in both North Dakota and Minnesota, and we hope that you'll message other employers. And I want to thank some of your guests here who are members of employer-centric groups like the Chamber of Commerce. They're a great partner with ESGR, And we hope that you'll continue to outreach to your employers and your organizations to tell them what great value that the Guard and Reserve service members bring to their workplace, and also to tell them of your great support for their military service. So having said that, again, I want to extend congratulations to you on this extremely extraordinary accomplishment and your selection as a 2022 Employer Support Freedom Award recipient. But I also want to thank you on behalf of a grateful nation for your support for your service members and their families. And it's an honor to be here with you today. Unfortunately, I'll be with you actually in the state of North Dakota in a couple of days to support the state's APAM, and I'll just say to you that once again, thank you. So Delton, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Chair Bogle, for those wonderful remarks. And again, thank you for being with us today. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you this weekend, picking you up at the airport on Friday. I promise you, no snow. That was part of the deal of getting him here. He's a little afraid of that white stuff that we get occasionally, but I think we're going to be okay. So anyway, thank you, Chair Bogle. Okay, I'm going to introduce the gentleman that got this all started today. A Gate City Bank employee that I think a lot of you know, and I'm going to invite him in a little bit after I do a brief introduction to allow him to come up and say a few words. But let me just mention Blue Hogue, financial advisor for Gate City Bank, has been with the bank for 4 years, and currently lives and works in Bismarck. Blue grew up and graduated from Lemon, South Dakota. He moved to Bismarck and enlisted in the North Dakota Army National Guard in April of 2016. He served 6 years with the 816th Military Police Company. Blue's contract ended in April of 2022. Blue's wife, Phoenix, who's also in attendance today with their daughter, Ember, she was also a member of the 816th and served for 6 years in the Army National Guard as well. As I mentioned earlier in the program, the Freedom Award is a service member-driven nomination. Thank you, Blue, for an outstanding write-up and nomination for your employer, Gate City Bank. Blue, if you would come forward to the podium and say a few words.
So first, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone that was able to make it today for the official ceremony in recognizing Gate City Bank earning the prestigious Freedom Award. Thank you. I remember 2 years ago when my leaders Destiny Voth and Adam Seiler received the Patriot Award from the ESGR. I'm so proud to be back today to take part in this Freedom Award celebration. Gate City Bank does what so many employers should be doing for their service members. I know very few employers that take as good care of their service members as Gate City Bank does. Whether it be from the military benefits for employees or to community involvement for its military customers. Gate City Bank understands the sacrifices our military makes, and they don't take any of it for granted. They do what they can when they can in the support of its military members. I have personally felt overwhelming support by Gate City Bank when I was activated to go to Washington, D.C., activated for COVID-19 testing sites, activated to go to Fargo for the protests, and absent for several military schools. Over the past 3 years, it has totaled being away from work for over 6 months. It was never easy to leave, especially when called upon with such short notice. Gate City never made it a hassle to leave. They didn't complain about my absence. Instead, they supported me, provided me with the benefits and assistance I needed to make my time from my family a little bit easier. They made stressful situations a little bit less stressful. The bank also allowed me to take extra days off to make sure I had time to get things needed squared away. But what meant most to me was simply a text or a call from my supervisor saying how things were going and if there was anything I needed from them. I have always bragged about how great of an employer Gate City Bank is and that my family and I are truly blessed to have such a great company in our lives. Gate City Bank lives and breathes for a better way of life, and this shows each and every day to team members and customers. Lastly, I want to say thank you to Gate City Bank for all the support you have provided and will continue to provide. to your service members, it doesn't go unappreciated. Congratulations to Gate City Bank on the well-deserved 2022 Secretary of Defense Freedom Award.
Kind of says it all right there. So, thank you, Blue. Outstanding. I'm going to move on in the program. Governor Burgum was unable to be with us today. They send their congratulations to Gate City Bank and their sincere regrets that he wasn't able to be here. And we know how things go when you're in that position, and things can change, but he definitely sends his best wishes to you. And also, we have our members from our congressional delegation. They were unable to be with us today, but we're very fortunate that they've sent their representatives here to be a part of the program and to say some remarks and read a letter. But they're back in D.C. doing the nation's business. So with that, I'm going to invite Mr. Tom Brusgard. He's the regional director for the senior senator from North Dakota, Senator John Hoeven. Tom, if you'd come forward.
Thank you, Delton. As you mentioned, my name is Tom Brusgard. I work for Senator Hoeven, actually out of his Grand Forks office, and I am a Gate City customer. kind of proud of it. And yes, I've already gotten my telefriend to take with me. So. Senator Hoeven indeed is back in D.C. They are in session. He asked that I come here and just share some brief words with you folk. Dear Gate City leadership and employees, congratulations on receiving the prestigious 2022 Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award from the Department of Defense. This honor recognizes your unyielding commitment to support our nation's great service members. As the highest honor given to employers who support National Guard and Reserve members, you're well deserving of this award, and I extend my deep appreciation for your commendable activities. We live in the greatest nation this world has ever known, thanks to the brave men and women in uniform, and of the nearly 3,000 employers nationwide to be nominated, your support has earned you this award. Your efforts exemplify our North Dakota spirit of supporting one another, of caring for our neighbors, and helping our state become a better place to live. Best wishes on an enjoyable event today. Sincerely, John Hoeven, United States Senate.
Let's see, and next up, representing Senator Kevin Kramer is Lisa Gibbons, State Director for Senator Kramer. Lisa, come on up. Thank you.
Good morning. It is a privilege to be here on behalf of Senator Kramer. I know he regrets he isn't able to join you in person for this wonderful event and celebration. I bring greetings from him. I work out of the Fargo office a couple blocks away from here, and again, it is a privilege to be here. Congratulations to the entire Gate City family as you receive the 2022 Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award. You have much to celebrate as you gather in Fargo today to accept this award. This is the highest U.S. government award recognizing employers for their exemplary support of employees and their families serving in the National Guard and Reserve. Being one of only 15 businesses recognized out of more than 2,700 nominated this year speaks to the significance of this recognition. Your compassionate leadership demonstrates the value you place on your citizen warriors, whether they are away from their jobs for a week or a year. Our fast-paced world places tremendous stress and worry on military families, and that is why the support of employers like you that you give to our brothers and sisters in uniform is so important. Now the nation is more aware of what we here in North Dakota have long known about the utmost importance Gate City Bank places on employee benefits and community service. I hope you and the entire Gate City family take some time to celebrate the significance of receiving the Freedom Award means to our state and our nation. Again, congratulations, and thank you for demonstrating in so many ways your heart for others. God bless you all. Sincerely, Senator Kevin Kramer.
And here today representing Congressman Kelly Armstrong is State Director Mary Christie. Mary, come forward.
Good morning, everyone. I know Congressman Armstrong truly wishes he could be here to celebrate with everyone today, and if he could, he would be. But I am honored to be here on his behalf to pass along some greetings. It is our pleasure to congratulate Gate City Bank on being selected for the 2022 Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award. This recognition is a testament to the value Gate City Bank has for all employees, and especially those who have chosen to selflessly serve in our North Dakota National Guard and Reserves. The comfort in knowing full pay will continue in activated, uninterrupted benefits, paid time off to spend with family before and after deployments is not only reassuring to the service member, but also to his or her family. And I also think it goes without saying, I don't think anyone in this room would hear those benefits and think they're doing it because they want to achieve or receive an award. They're doing it because they're good people. They're doing it because they value the National Guard and the service members. And I think it just displays just the heart and value you place on your team members. You should be very proud of this achievement. The leadership and support you have shown within your 22 communities is an accomplishment worth celebrating. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Mary. Now it's my honor to introduce, I look at my job, I have two bosses. The one you saw on the screen a little while ago, Chair Bogle, and another gentleman off to my left here who is also, I call him my boss because he just a great partner for ESGR. But let me introduce our next guest speaker today. Major General Alan Dorman is the Adjutant General for the state of North Dakota. As Adjutant General, Major General Dorman commands more than 4,100 North Dakota soldiers and airmen and supervises over 1,300 full-time federal and state employees. He also serves as the Director of Emergency Services, consisting of two divisions, the Division of Homeland Security and the Division of State Radio Communications. A 1983 graduate of Minnesota State University and Mankato's ROTC program, General Dorman began his military service in 1983. While on active duty, he served overseas in Germany and Okinawa. He joined the National Guard in 1991, serving in numerous positions, including Director of Personnel and Chief of Staff for the North Dakota Joint Force Headquarters, and as Land Component Commander of the North Dakota National Guard. From July 2009 to August of 2010, General Dorman commanded the Multinational Task Force East at Camp Bonsteel, Kosovo, in support of NATO's KFOR mission. Upon returning to North Dakota, he assumed duties as Deputy Adjutant General for the North Dakota National Guard and was appointed Adjutant General in December of 2015. He is a graduate of the University of North Dakota School of Law, and his military education includes the United States Army War College Fellowship program at Tufts University. A highly decorated military officer, Major General Dorman lives in Bismarck with his wife Becky and 4 children. And I might add, I have the honor of being his honorary commander, or the honorary commander also for the North Dakota National Guard. And he's given me that opportunity in the position of ESGR State Chair. I'm very grateful, but you will not find a more ardent supporter of the mission of ESGR, either from General Dorman or the leadership team that you see here and back in Bismarck or across the state with the North Dakota National Guard. We could not do what we do without that support. General Dorman, come on forward.
Yeah, I always get a kick when Delton thanks me for all the great opportunities I give him. And both of his jobs pay absolutely nothing. I take him to lunch every other year. He gets a bowl of soup, so I'm getting off pretty cheap there. Hey, thanks for letting me be part of this day. I really wanted to make it. It so happens this afternoon we're sending off 150 MPs, military police, to the Central Command area of operations. So I'm in town for that anyway, but it's great to be here with you today. I was told by my boss, the governor, that I'm representing him too. Apparently he told both of us because he didn't trust me. But just imagine anything I say, the governor feels the same way. The only difference will be if the governor was here, he would say something about Bison football. I will not. As Delton highlighted, I graduated from the University of North Dakota. Actually, I'm a Bison football fan. Once, UND's out of it. And I assume, there you go, let's have a round of applause for UND. But my assumption is Gates City, or at least some of its leadership, must also be fans of Bison football, since there's some shameless advertising on the field, if I remember correctly. But thank you for that. Hey, again, it's a true honor to be here today. We always talk about a three-legged stool. Sometimes I say a four-legged stool, which is more stable, by the way, but it's families, it's our employers, it's our duty that we have with the National Guard, but I throw in their communities too. And Gates City is an example of what employers can do to support the military. But this community is also an example of what communities can do to support the community or the military. Shannon Falls here. General McDonald, I'll have you represent all military support committees. Well, Brian, you too. I didn't mean to sound reluctant on that. It came out that way, didn't it? But this community really does an outstanding job. But Gates City really stands out in the crowd. What you do for our service members just goes above and beyond. There is reluctant adherence to the law, and we get that from some employers. There is friendly acceptance of the law, but there's always the potential for conscious and unconscious bias because of the amount of time employees are away from their place of work. Gates City, I mean, it is all in. We will do what it takes to support our military members. Some of the benefits have already been mentioned. I won't go into them. I have not read your HR policy manual, so I don't know all of them. But you really do go above and beyond. And the Guard is still busy. I was sharing with Steve before this started, and I mentioned it at the beginning of my remarks. We're sending off 150 military police to CENTCOM this afternoon. We sent off 125 aviators that are going down to the southwest border in the near future on Sunday. In the last 2 years, we have deployed 800 guardsmen to missions either in the continental United States or overseas. So there's a part-time force, and like Delton, I try to do public math, but 800 of 4,000 is 20%. Is that right? I know you lost your job at U.S. Bank, but I did. But that's 20% of a part-time force, and that's on top of 137,000 personnel days of support to COVID. That's on top of putting fires out in Minot last summer. That's on top of stopping a fire from hitting the town of Medora 2 years ago. That's on top of saving the city from Cavalier from going underwater because we need to shore up a dam. So that's the investment that you all are supporting. But I think Gates City, and I talked to Steve before this, I say this to employers all the time. I don't know if it registers with them, but I think we give back to you too. And Steve highlighted that. We are giving your employees training, leadership training, military training that sometimes applies to the civilian world, and experiences that employers can never afford to provide for their employees. And I truly do believe that makes a difference when they come out of uniform and come back to your place of business. I want to thank the ESGR team. You guys do an incredible job underneath Delton's leadership. I always say organizations reflect back on the leaders. And when you look at ESGR's accomplishments, you look at Gate City's accomplishments, somebody has set that tone. So we're not just saying the words, but the entire organization is showing with their day-to-day work practices that they actually are supporting the Guard and Reserve. For Steve, Kevin, the whole Gate City team, I can't say where I bank, but Norm Clark knows. I can't endorse anybody publicly. But I don't know how many in Gate City have worn the uniform of our country. But as far as I'm concerned, Steve, Kevin, the whole team, you serve your country, you serve your state and your community every single day by the support you provide to our military. So again, I'm really pleased I could be here with you today. Appreciate the example you are setting. And at the end, I hope you'll continue. Well, I think Delton or Chair Bogle or somebody said, be part of the team to spread the word. But I truly believe supporting our military is the right business decision for any of our employers, and I hope you can help spread that message. Again, thanks for letting me be here today, and congratulations to Gate City Bank.
About that pay, General Dorman, little thing called inflation. So can I upscale to a large bowl of soup this year versus a small one?
There's free Altoids in the
We'll take this discussion offline later. Anyway, thank you, General Dorman, for being here today, and all the team from the Army and Air National Guard that are here today as well. Just wouldn't be the same without having you all here, so thank you. Okay, let's see here. I need to check my notes here and make sure we stay on topic here, but we have a little unfinished business to do from prior to unveiling the Freedom Award to Gate City Bank. But prior to that, Gate City Bank was recognized by the ESGR State Committee for an award we call the Pro Patria Award. The Pro Patria Award is the highest state level award that can come from an ESGR state organization. So, and that also came about from a nomination, happened to be Lou Hogue, who started with a Patriot Award nomination. We again review that information, look at that information, get in touch with the leadership teams of the organizations that we consider for that award. And it just so happened that we said, okay, this organization qualifies for this award. And the criteria isn't really a whole lot different, than what it takes to win the Freedom Award. So if our illustrious helpers here, my vice chair, state vice chair, Mr. Dave Johnston, and our volunteer support technician, Jeanette Fetch, who resides in Bismarck, they know better than to let me handle that stuff because I'd probably tip it all over. But if we could have Kevin and Steve, if you'd want to come forward. Congratulations on being a winner of the ESGR Pro Patria Award for 2022. Thank you so much. Let's have a round of applause. I'm thinking you guys don't want to stray too far from the stage. But anyway, congratulations on that award. But it just so happened that the reason that we delayed the award, there's this little thing that was going on in all of our lives, this little virus that's been circulating around for a while. And we were going to present the award, and then the way the outbreak was and all that, we had conversations with the leadership team at Gate City and decided, well, let's hold off. Well, then we find out we have a Freedom Award nomination. I said, well, let's see where that all goes. So we said, let's just make this one really big celebration in recognition of both of those. So that's why we did the Pro Patriot Award today as well. So, Kevin and Steve, if you would come back up, let's have a big round of applause as we unveil the Freedom Award for 2022 for Gate City Bank. Get up here and get them. Congratulations. Time for a picture. We got them all? All right, thank you. Next, I'm going to have come back to the stage a couple of leaders, outstanding leaders, and I can say that, everybody knows, or most people know, I had the pleasure of working for another organization across the street called U.S. Bank, no plug intended, but yeah, I did, and happened to be the regional president there for the last 7 years of my career before I retired back in 2019, but my office was right next door. And I always, teased Steve and Kevin and Jay, the property manager, because there are just a few things that were going on in downtown Fargo. First, look at this lovely facility here. Wow. If I'd have known you'd have had something like this, I'd been over getting more cookies more often. But this is just a great facility, a great area to have this award today. But the thing of it was, in my organization, the word we spread is that we don't ever trash another competitor organization. And but it made that really easy because Gate City Bank, they were just phenomenal neighbors. When they were doing the renovations in the building here, I remember getting calls from Jay and saying, hey, Dalton, we're going to be doing some stuff across the street. And you might see some concrete dropping once in a while. And sure enough, yeah, there were some loud bangs because at the time my office was looking right next door or across the street anyway. And but we always kept each other informed. We had this little thing over here called Block 9. That was a development, and that was a process. And I would call and say, hey, there's going to be some stuff, maybe going to be some parking challenges for customers as they section off parts of the street and other noise going on with that development there that the governor, without his help, that wouldn't have taken place. But it was a great partnership. Friendly competitors, respected competitors, and we never took that for granted. So I say this in all seriousness as a former competitor, but I couldn't be more proud to be here today that you're receiving this recognition. So thank you. So let me introduce to you the president and the CEO of Gate City Bank, Mr. Kevin Hansen. Kevin grew up in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. He is a graduate of Fergus Falls High School and is also a graduate of Minnesota State University Moorhead, where he graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's degree in finance. He is also a graduate of the American Bankers Association Graduate School of Banking. Kevin started his career with Gate City Bank in 1983. He held several positions but found a passion for lending. In 2019, Kevin was elected president and CEO of Gate City Bank, where he also serves on its board of directors. He also currently serves on the board of directors of for the Metro Area Transit, the North Dakota Housing Finance Agency, Valley Prosperity Partnership Steering Committee, Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce Public Affairs Committee, and the American Bankers Association Mortgage Markets Committee. Kevin has a passion for helping his community and has volunteered many hours with various charities, including the Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, and Giving Hearts Day. Kevin has spent his entire career with Gate City Bank. You're a lifer like I was with U.S. Bank, 40 years. Kevin currently resides in West Fargo with his wife of 40 years, Susan, a retired cosmetologist. They have 2 children, Ben and Jordan. Please join me in welcoming President and CEO of Gate City Bank, Mr. Kevin Hansen.
thank you, Delton, for that wonderful introduction and organizing this event. And thank you for the kind words. And I hope my wife was listening, because I sometimes tell her I do some good things and she never believed me. So I'm hoping that this helps. And you know, I have to start off by apologizing to Delton, because as he said, he was a former banker and a neighbor across the street, and I always see Delton walking around in our lobby, and I thought, what is this guy doing? Is he over here, trying to get our trade secrets? What's going on? And then he retires, and we were able to reduce our cookie orders by half. So I do apologize, Delton. First off, I just want to say, I had the opportunity this last few weeks to travel across the state as I was doing some updates with our team, and we are just wowed. We have a sense of excitement, pride, honor, humility that we share in receiving this recognition. We're deeply gratitude for that. There are many people to thank, and that's a wonderful thing, because it means the work we are doing is really making a difference. So first off, I want to thank you to our Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Lloyd Austin, the ESGR, the National Selection Committee, and of course Ron Bogle, National Chair of the ESGR, for their support in joining us virtually and their kind words they shared with us this morning. For Gate City Bank to even be considered by the National Selection Committee, a great deal of work took place right here at the state level. Delton Steele and the entire North Dakota ESGR committee, thank you for your energy and efforts in endorsing Gate City Bank's nomination. North Dakota employers and service members are truly fortunate to have you as friends, advocates, and leaders. Congratulations to the entire ESGR in celebrating your 50th anniversary this year. Your organization embodies the spirit for a better way of life. I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to travel to Camp Ripley with Delton. I got to see firsthand Delton's dedication, enthusiasm, commitment, and leadership. If I were to define a servant leader, it would be Delton. Blue, who is joined by his wife Phoenix and daughter Ember. Blue, your nomination started all this. Pretty cool. Thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for your service to Gate City Bank. Thank you, Blue. Be a leader is one of Gate City Bank's principles of high standards. Blue and his leadership team, one of them whom was here today, Destiny Voth from our Bismarck office, exemplify that standard and show us exactly what it looks like to lead leaders. Blue and Destiny, would you please stand and would you give them a round of applause? And speaking of leaders, there are many here with us today. Some of them have spoken so graciously on behalf of Gate City. Tom, Lisa, and Mary, thank you for representing Senator Kramer, Senator Hoeven, and Congressman Armstrong, and for supporting the people of North Dakota in our nation's capital. Thank you for your presence here today. I'd also like to thank Mayor Carlson, Mayor Mahoney, and Mayor Dardis for your attendance support today. We did have bottled water because we didn't want to get into any arguments about which water tasted better, so just bottled water today. But thank you for being here. General Dorman, we are honored that you have joined us here today. Thank you for your leadership of the men and women in the North Dakota Air and Armed National Guard, and thank you for those that are here today for your service. I had the opportunity, as I mentioned, to go out to Camp Ripley and spent a couple days with the North Dakota Guard. If you ever get the chance, you just come away in awe. They are truly incredible, passionate, dedicated men and women, and we are so grateful for your service, so thank you so much for that. Excellent performance is a result of excellent leadership, and I am truly grateful for the leadership of Gate City Bank's Board of Directors. Your contributions and your commitment to excellence in all aspects of the banks are felt here today and every day. So I wanted to recognize the bank's Board of Directors are Cindy Keller, Rod Larson, Shirley Montgomery, Steve Swantek, and Pat Trainer. Now I'd like to close with the acknowledgement that these awards distinguished efforts initiated long before I became president. Efforts that were in the vision of my predecessor and our chair of the board at Gate City Bank, Steve Swantek. Steve, thank you for your vision and for your leadership. And would you please come up and share a few words?
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. General Dorman, I know that you stated that you were speaking on behalf of the governor, and he gave you some comments as far as what to say. Quite frankly, I don't think some of the comments you mentioned regarding the other university would have been brought up today. Rest assured, it will stay here because the governor and I are fraternity brothers. We've known each other for years, so we'll just keep it right here, so don't worry about it.
Glad there's no media here.
That's right. A couple of things I know that they wanted me to visit with you about as far as the history of this and where this all started. I had the privilege in being raised in Edgeley, North Dakota, and years ago there was a guard unit there, engineering, and I had family, friends, and relatives that were participated in that guard unit. And to see them and what they did and the difference they made was really ingrained in me the importance of what military does. Also, my dad was in the occupation forces in Japan. And so he was one of those individuals that didn't talk much about it, and didn't say much about it, but you knew the difference that he made and how proud he was in serving with other individuals. I also had the privilege of going to Washington, D.C. with the Chamber and learning about what the Pentagon, and also telling the story to the Pentagon and to our congressional delegation of what all of you do in the service and the impact that you have. I was in Army ROTC, and I was commissioned as a second lieutenant. And however, it was right after the Vietnam War, and there was a reduction in force. So I never did serve an active duty. Unfortunately, I wish I would have had that privilege to be able to do that. At Gate City and also at the Army National Guard and the Reserve, I've looked at your mission and your vision. And when you talk about your vision, it's a premier force, relevant today, evolving to meet the missions of tomorrow. And your mission is to provide ready units, individuals, and equipment supporting our community, state, and nation. And when you look at what you've done over all of these years, it would be from tornadoes, wildfires, blizzards, helping and assisting law enforcement, search and rescue, floods. And then also when you look at what you've done worldwide and the difference that you've made to protect our freedoms and liberties, and also ensuring that terrorism does not rear its ugly head again. And all I can say is we're very grateful and humbled by that and what you've all done. That means so much to us. This award, yes, it's to Gate City, but really it's to all of you that serve and make a difference. I was thinking about, we had Andy Stein, who some of you know was the staff sergeant in North Dakota Army National Guard in the 174th Cyber Protection Team. And he was on a 13-month mobilization back in 2019, if I remember right. And so I was thinking about that, and I said, we need to do something different. Now, at times, I've been at Gate City, I was 42 and a half years and president for 20 years. And sometimes, I love to do things collaboratively and work with other individuals. At times, you can just go ahead and make decisions and just go ahead and do it. Now, that doesn't quite work at home when you do it that way. But here, doesn't Mary Ann? So the one day when I was thinking about Andy, he's gone for 13 months. He's away from his family, and there's an impact on him and his family. And so to the credit of the team, we threw out the idea, said, hey, let's continue Andy on our payroll at Gate City. No change in his pay, no change in benefits, and let's do that. He will be compensated by the Guard, I understand that, but that's one less concern and worry that he has for he and his family. And then the other part of that was, when you come back in 2 weeks, you have time off to be with your family. And we need to, as employees, or employers I should say, send that message, because it is a volunteer. I mean, you're not required or mandated to be part of the Guard. And if we can send that type of message that we're here to support you, it truly makes a difference. And when I think of Kevin, and I look at what Kevin and the team are doing now, they're even expanding it. and growing it to be more supportive when it comes to a playbook for leaders and making sure that we're there at all times to help. And so, so that's so much appreciated too, the understanding, the culture that Kevin and the team have instilled and continue to instill in everybody for a better way of life. So on behalf of the board of directors and on behalf of the 780 some team members, this truly is an honor, and thank you to all the members of the military for the difference that you make in protecting our liberties and our freedoms. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you, Steve, so much for those remarks. I've got a little unfinished business, and I'm not paying attention, so if Chair Bogle's watching, I might not be even getting a bowl of soup from him for all I know. But anyway, Kevin, this is the National Chair coin for your leadership and support of our nation's troops. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Steve, this is the Executive Director coin. Chair of the Board. Thank you so much.
Del.
And blue, 50th anniversary coin for you, sir. Thanks for that great nominee.
Appreciate it.
Okay, this has certainly been an exciting day, not only for me, but I hope for all of us, I hope all the community. But an event like this doesn't just happen on its own. At this time, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Freedom Award Event Committee volunteers who helped plan for this event. And I know I'm going to name some of them from Gate City Bank. And I know that there were many, many, many behind the scenes that did a lot of things. But if you are here today, please wave, stand, come up so everybody can see you. But first of all, I know Kim Meyer, Executive Vice President, Head of HR, couldn't do any of this without her. And I know she's traveling, trying to earn you some money here this week. So hopefully, I hope it goes well. Sam Miranda. Sam over there in the corner. Kevin Tabasa. Kevin, where did you go, Kevin? Oh, he's over here. Kevin hiding. Paula Schneider. Paula, where did you go? There, she's back there hiding too. Robert Ross. There he is. So anyway, thank you so much. And I have a number of ESGR volunteers as well, and if they would also stand, wave, and be recognized that we're part of the event planning committee. My state vice chair, Dave Johnston. Public Affairs Director, Rob Keller. Rob, I saw him in the back. ESGR Assistant Public Affairs Director for North Dakota, Dave Lipp. And our very own volunteer support technician, Miss Jeanette Fitch. Jeanette, oh, there you are. So anyway, if you are an ESGR volunteer today, and if I've already mentioned your name, would you please stand and be recognized? I know there have a number of volunteers here today. They're all shy. Greg Nathan, stand up. I know you're here. Jerry Engelman. And when you do some introductions, you always say, "Oh God, what did I do?" I look at the list, and Jerry Engelman, retired Brigadier General, Deputy Adjutant General, but also Jerry is our Ombudsman Director for the state of North Dakota. So he has probably the little less fun job than the rest of us have of handing out awards and doing all those fun things and going out and having fun at these events. But Jerry, thanks for being here. And then I have to mention Dr. Dean Brashani with us today here as well. He was on my advisory board for all the years I was regional president over across the street. I won't say it since it's on video. Okay, I'm going to say it, U.S. Bank, but Dr. Brashani, thanks for being here today. Great to see you, sir. And again, if I forgot somebody, my sincere apologies. So thanks for everyone for being here today. We know you got things going on and we need to get back. Gate City's got to get back to making some money around here and doing some things. But we want to get some photo ops. I know we want to get Steve, Kevin, some other team members of General Dorman. I know he loves pictures. And some of my team as well up in front here afterwards. And then I also want to, again, I can't say enough about the Gate City Bank team. Look at, again, all this everything that went on here today, all those that I know even that I didn't recognize today. We couldn't have had more fun working with an organization. It's a testament to your team here, and no surprise that you win that, but just great to work with. So thank you so much. And snacks, let's see, are they over there? Or where are we doing this? Over here? Where are the cookies? They're over there, but anyway, compliments of Gate City Bank and ESGR. Please stick around for refreshments and a few goodies afterwards. So with that, thanks Chair Bogle if you're still on, and thanks everyone for being here on this great day. See ya.